Right, let's get started.
All right, off we go.
So, greetings, everybody. Welcome to our second town hall this year. Quickly on the agenda, we'll have a welcome section from me, and we'll go through the major updates on the initiatives from our directors, and this time also from our committee members, at least one committee. I'd like to start this tradition today. And we'll have the fireside Q&A. So please, as we go along, we'll share the QR code. Think of the questions you have, and Jorg will post a link in the chat so you guys can enter the questions or upload the questions that's already there. And in the end, we can have a little friendly discussion before we close. So hopefully that sounds good for everybody. Let's go next. And again, next. So about half a year ago, we had the moment of 3 new board members joining, and I was elected as the president of the MA, and I wanted to take a step forward in accountability and transparency, which were the things that we heard from community that were not necessarily visible in the association. And as a big step, we decided as a group to come up with priority areas and assign them to specific board members and have those board members champion the initiatives. And now we're about halfway through the year, and I'm thinking it's a really good time to take a look at where we are and update you guys in the community and show you some progress that we have managed to achieve over that half a year. But of course, Magento Association, it was never an organization in its own. It was created and it exists because of the community. And likewise, the only things we can do can only be done with the community. So next slide, please. I would like to highlight as a big win from this past quarter what we have been able to achieve on this community front. And also special greetings to the Mage and Conference crowd I see on the video in the background, waving us and cheering. Great to see you guys tracking. Hello. Yep, and we'll have a special update from there. So that's awesome. And committee-wise, I wanted to highlight all those wonderful community members. And I was counting this morning, and it's 28 people outside of the board that we have involved in the committees. And this number actually blown my mind, because trying to gather this many motivated individuals willing to volunteer their time and put it together towards our cause, it's definitely not an easy job. And I'm not sure there is any other e-commerce community out there that managed to achieve that. So I'm very proud of our Magento community spirit and our ability to get together and work to get things done. So for me, from the board, I would like to sincerely thank all our committee members for being engaged and putting their time forward. And as I mentioned, we would like to elevate the committees. We want to give them a bit more autonomy. We want to give them more power in their hands to actually do things and to achieve the goals that we board set as strategic direction. And also we want to give you guys more recognition. And as part of that, I'm also happy that Jamie from Events Committee will be giving us updates today on events. And our goal going forward is to grow this committee presence at online events like this MA Town Hall. Next slide, please. Another piece of news that I wanted to bring forward is the elections for the Magento board. We are doing them this year again, and we're getting into the cadence of doing elections every year. And this year we will have 4 board seats to be elected. One will be on the direct track, where you, our members, can vote for the director you would prefer to be on the board. And 3 director seats will be selected by election committee over the slate process. In the process, we will also update the bylaws to make sure that we streamline the election process and make it more, let's say, fluid or easier to handle in the years to come. So our goal is to have each year rotating 4 board members. So half of the elected board will come, half will leave their positions. And we're launching nominations sooner this year. So from July 7th, we will start the process of applications. So we will open the application process for the community. So anybody who would like to apply and put themselves forward are welcome. And I would strongly suggest you, if you feel like trying yourself, if you see that you can advance and help us with the mission of improving our Magento community, helping it, please put yourself forward and be a part of the process. Take charge and put your energy into this. And I promise you, it's worth it. And the future of Magento is in our hands. I will not stop saying so. And I think Magento Association is the best platform out there that we have for it. What we managed to build is a structure that's been out there for already more than 5 years. It's pretty solid. We have the relationship with Adobe. We have the relationship with community. We have wonderful committees. We have the processes that we build and improve in the board. And the goal for our organization is to outlast anybody on the board, any personal personalities. And our mission is to advance the whole ecosystem, and that's what we want to do in open, transparent, accountable, and equitable way. So I would like to invite you to join and participate if you care about Magento community and if you want to help it grow. With that said, let's take a look at our QR code for the Q&A, and also you can find the link in the chat. This is the link you would want to save. So please, the questions as you get them, looking at the slides and the updates, please enter them and we'll get to them at the end of the call. And now my part is over. Thank you very much. And let's go and check out our updates on the major initiatives that we're doing.
So, Laura,
Hello.
here you go. Morning. Is it morning? No, it's noonish, right?
It is for me. It's
Okay,
well.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, so I have 2 areas of focus on the MA board, and that's marketing and open source. So marketing, these guys were already up and running by the time I showed up in January or February. We have on our team Rebecca Brockton, Ola Chapieska, Sergey Derzop, Aaron Moss, Julia Bondarenko, and Matt Harris just recently joined. He was not on the previous slide. It's a recent member. This is the core group that's responsible for getting the Magento Association and Magento Open Source message out there. Next slide, please. So what we're working on right now, and this is with Danny Verkade and Emily Sturge, who was our recent chair for the committee, is a content strategy. So the idea behind this is to sort of have a blueprint for how to market all of the Magento Association / open source properties. Meet Magento, Magento Open Source, Magento Association, and to make it sort of streamlined for people to provide content for us. So that's in process. We are revamping our podcasts, and Matt Harris has been taking the lead on that. And our first podcast will be out in the next few weeks, featuring Mathias Schreiber as our first guest, which I think is appropriate. And we're looking at a monthly cadence for that. Socials are really happening these days, led by Ola. We're starting to sort of put some rah-rah around the community-led PR prioritization. So every month, whenever the upvoted PRs are announced, we want to make it a point of announcing this on all of our social channels to try to get more people involved in that process. And then same goes with events. So there's a lot of events happening, and I'll leave that to Jamie to talk about that. But we're trying to make sure that our socials are reflective of all the events coming up. And then there's a Women in E-commerce channel on the Magento Association Slack. You can get a link to that in the footer of the Magento Association website. We're really trying to grow this community, and not just the Women in E-commerce, but the Magento Association Slack in particular, to try to get a centralized sort of chat location for people just to dish about what's going on in their jobs or lives, the community, how they're using Magento, that kind of thing. Because there does seem to be a lot of fragmentation when it comes to these types of communities. There's a couple Slacks out there, there's Discords. It would be great to be able to get more action done there. And if anyone is interested in moderating, get in touch with any member of the board or the marketing committee. It would be great to have some people in there to help that. Next slide, please. Next up is the Community Council. This is an initiative that was announced a couple years ago, and we finally have gotten it off the ground with the committee of Francis Gallagher, Jakob Winkler, Chris Island, Nathan Mohan, Simon Sprinkle, and Yvonne Chopani. And this group has been meeting for probably about a month and a half weekly to try to get some oomph into the contribution process. So the next slide, please. What we want to do is get more maintainers. That's something that we're looking to do probably towards the end of the summer and early fall, to start putting a call out for people to become maintainers. We want to add additional repositories to the community-led prioritization project. And then we want to make it easier to contribute. So next slide, please. We're working on, it's called Magento Forger, and it's just a little application that will give us a little more insight into PRs and issues in the Magento repository. So right now, it's really quick and dirty. We're kind of just scrapping it together, and it's not live yet. JetRails will be hosting it for us. Thank you, JetRails. And as you can see here, we have an issues by month. So these are open issues by month, by year too. So instead of being presented with a big list of issues or PRs to look at, what we want to do is kind of get them down into more manageable chunks. So if you look at this, you're like, you know what, there's only one issue from 2020 September. So maybe if I can work on that, I could start getting all of the 2020 issues off the board. It gives you more of a sense of just being able to zero in on what you want to work on. We're also working on breaking them out by areas. So there's like checkout, GraphQL. So if you're a pro in GraphQL, then you can zero in on the issues related to that and work on that. We'll be doing the same with PRs, so that whenever every month you get the list of PRs to upvote, it's not just a list of 800 PRs where you have to kind of muddle through and you stop at page 2. You'll be able to look for the issues that affect you the most. So that's coming up, and we'd love to have people help us with that. Right now, it's in its infancy. You can see the link on GitHub, Magento Forger. You can fork it. We have instructions on how to run it, and any ideas would be welcome. Next slide. Just want to end with a call for volunteers. We are looking for people to help. So if you are a marketing pro, come join the marketing committee. If you want to provide content, keep a lookout for a call for content as the aforementioned content strategy comes out. We'll be looking for blog posts. We'll be looking for people on our podcast, all kinds of stuff. And then for the community council, like I said, we'll be looking for maintainers towards the end of the summer and help with coaching. So always looking.
All right. Thanks for that. So, Jamie, you're ready to go?
Always.
There you go.
Hello, everybody. So I've had the privilege of 8 years so far being together with these wonderful individuals on the events committee, from the Meet Magento Association all the way to the Magento Association now. So I just want to start by saying just how wonderful these 4 individuals are, how privileged we are to have them as part of this ecosystem, but also just give them a well-deserved shout out for what they do. So a recap of what we do: our mission really is to support any and all Magento events worldwide. We want to support whether it has a little bit of Magento in it, whether it has Magento in the name, whether it has Mage in the name. We just want all events to succeed because we believe, as we all do, I think, that events in the Magento ecosystem are just such a special, irreplaceable part of what makes this ecosystem fantastic. And when people get together, it's just, you just can't beat that thing. We also, of course, have stewardship of the Meet Magento name and brand, and really just want to make sure all organizers are well looked after, whether people are experienced and they've run events before, whether they're brand new and have just crazy idea on a Thursday night and they send an email on a Friday. We want to enable however we can. So my 3 slides today, every single one of them is going to have our email on the bottom. We'd love you to reach out to us if you are a new, existing, or just have an idea to improve events overall. We're up for it. Come reach out to us. We're a friendly bunch. Next slide, Mathias. This year, what we have seen is a 250% increase in events. So we've got an absolutely stacked calendar for you today. And today for 2025. This year already, we've had the wonderful returning India, Florida, Brazil, and the UK. We've had the newbies in France, making it look easy from the outside. We know it is not easy. We know the amount of effort it took to be just that good is incredible. So big shout out to France as newbies this year in the overall ecosystem of Meet Magento events. And you can see just how many there are to come for the rest of the year. There are 8 events there for the rest of the year. I even said this morning in our events committee chat that if the marketing committee aren't coming up with, Meet Magento Madness or some kind of phrase for this block here where there are 6 events in less than 5 weeks at the end of the year, I think there you go, free idea. So we've got a whole bunch of successes here. We have France being so amazing. We have Brazil doubling in size. We have the return of Ukraine, new organizers in Italy. We have the Netherlands coming back for their 2nd year after such a phenomenal year last year. The new event in Canada. New York has a new venue. Egypt and Philippines is brand new. And Poland, 3rd year, sorry, test. And Poland coming back with a tech-focused conference, kind of changing things up to say that we don't have to have a consistent format across these, that we appreciate everybody. And of course, next year we have Romania making a return. We have Germany in their first event after a good gap there with an excellent set of organizers. We also have the Czech Republic coming in with a brand new event. I believe that's August as well. So that's going to be another interesting one in the calendar. So not just is this interesting from an ecosystem perspective and from a Magento Association perspective, but it's just wonderful to see that so many organizers are coming forward to express their interest, and through conversations with the committee, with conversations with Mathias, with the board, and everybody else, that they are moving ahead with those events and doing such a good job. And again, if you're on that slide, if you're not on that slide, you want to be on that slide, our email is at the bottom. We will talk to you all day long and help you however we can. Right, next slide. How are we doing that? So how are we doing that since the last town hall? First thing we've done is we've launched a global call for papers. So if you are a speaker that wants to speak across any of these events and don't want to sign up to everybody's newsletter, or doesn't want to remember to have to spot a new event that comes out, you can sign up in one place on meetmagento.com. we will email you when a call for papers comes out for a new event, and therefore you'll see that straight away. It's also a really good way of learning new events on top of the wonderful Magento Association newsletter too. We also launched an optional opt-in for organizers to share speakers with us that are interested and subscribe them on their behalf. So the UK piloted this 2 weeks ago in our event. We have about 30 or 40 speakers that have said, I absolutely want to be subscribed to that list, that have opted in during the submission process, that are now going to hear from future events. So it's just a really good example of events all helping each other grow, even though we're in different countries, different places. There's so much we can swap there. Second is we helped a lot with the rewriting of the opening presentation for Magento Association at different conferences. We got feedback from different people, helped Mathias do absolutely spectacular job of putting that together and delivering that. And then things that are in progress now, so we have an organizer agreement being rewritten for modern times. What I mean by that is there's a lot fixed in the contract that actually is a lot more flexible, that we want to offer more advice on without it being, it dried in ink. One way we're going to be doing that is with playbooks for organizers. So we're going to have a lot of series of documents, short documents, big documents, that just say, here's best practice for different things that organizers have done, from how they handle their badges to registration to how they best help Magento Association succeed during the day, or how they best do marketing activities, etc., and just share some of that knowledge around. We are putting priorities on those things being asked for by organizers. So again, our email's at the bottom if you want to put your priority there, or jump into Slido maybe. We're also looking at meetup and contribution day support and how we can do better there, and how we can help everybody else, because again, there's not a slide for this, but so many more meetups over the last couple of years, and a big return to that. But also there's a big passion of Vijay, a big passion of Vlad here, really big, strong, when's our contribution day support? How do we sit down, contribute to these things and get it done? The last thing, which you'll remember Ollie saying in the last town hall, is about exhibition presence support. So we're going to help make sure that when there are expos in different countries, that we are just trying to facilitate, help put playbooks together for how, say, 5, 10 agencies, tech partners, whoever it might be, can come together to represent Magento in that hall and all win together in making sure that we're evangelizing the brands and everything else. That's me. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah, I got a cover for Vatsal because he's feeling a little under the weather. Shout out, get well soon. So some updates from our end in terms of the web services that we at Magento Association provide. We'll start out with the Magento showcases. So as some of the members might know, we have a beta program. So if you're a member, you can sign up and put your showcases into your Magento profile. Props to Coliber and 01 for community support, building it, bug fixing, having discussions with me back and forth how to make it work. The display on Magento Open Source is a work in progress, even though I received an email, I think like 1.5 hours ago, that I have a pull request to review. So we might launch this really, really soon. So props to dev team from the Philippines to that. Coming up, also something we fixed over the last week is the community calendar, because we noticed that there's a lot of community events going on and it's really hard to track them all down. So we want to provide a central database for that, and we will provide like a public API that anyone can consume. But we will also have a WordPress plugin as well as a Typo 3 plugin. So for the data entry, again, props go out to Coliber and Tactic for fixing stuff, putting it all together. For the event display on meetmagento.com and basically the WordPress plugin, props to Matthew from Actuate for that, and the Typo 3 thing will be handled by Stefan Frumken. So true community power in play here. Thank you, everybody, for that. Also, we have our first version of the member portal. That's so all members can directly access their membership badge, upcoming discounts, ticket discounts, all those things from a central place. I'm still trying to find the time to review the whole thing. But luckily my local DDEV installation crashed and my homebrew is broken, so that might take me the weekend to get my local development stack up and running. Again, props to Good Ahead for putting this together at really short notice. So big shout out, big thank you. And also, this is what a lot of people have been asking for. What's the status on the expert listing that we have? So we're at roughly 90% of the pure data entry. Again, props to Coliber. Their name starts popping up a lot, especially thanks to Ola and Jakub for tirelessly working here. And displaying everything, so basically consuming the API, putting it up on MagentoOpenSource.com, that's currently up for grabs. That will be a WordPress task. So if you want your shout out here, just get in touch with me so that we can put this together really, really quickly. One thing that's a little bit maybe mostly annoying to me personally the current payment methods on that we have on the Magento Hub. So if you want to become a member, we have quite a few issues with intercontinental payments. PayPal always works. Credit cards is tricky. If you have experience with intercontinental payments, or you want to help with like a local proxy entity to set something local up so it's not intercontinental payment, hit us up. That would be really, really appreciated so that we can get more members signed up soonish. And that's pretty much it from my end. So I'm handing over to Vijay. Take it away.
Yep. Hello, everyone. For me, like I have taken the two initiatives. One is called the Recognizing Program, and the second thing is merchant documentation. So that is something will be shared by Danny, but I will be more talking about the Recognizing Program. Next slide, please. So this is more than just a reboot. It's an opportunity to reflect and learn from the past and deliver something better. A program that is fair, inclusive, and truly representation of the global Magento ecosystem. Initially, we had chosen the name Magento Champion, but Adobe has already have the separate Champion program, and under that, they have recently launched the Adobe Commerce Champion. So to avoid any confusion within our Magento Open Source community, we decided to adopt the different name. So we have submitted a few names to Adobe legal team for the approval. Once we receive a feedback from their team, we'll announce the final program name. Next slide, please. A newly formed volunteer committee has come together to lead this initiative, and they are passionate community members, and they are committed to celebrate those who elevate the Magento through code, content, collaborations, and the contribution. And together, our goal is that honor the excellence across all the area of the contribution. We'll celebrate the diverse voices, skills, and the experiences, and uplift the next generation of the Magento leaders. We'll be sharing more soon, including how you can get involved. Yep, that's it from my side.
All right. Danny, you're up for good?
On to me, yes. So
let's go.
Well, slide back, please, because I have an intro. So last year at Meet Magento UK, we launched the Magento Open Source website, which I pushed for hard within the MA board because I felt like that was something missing within the community and to market the Magento Open Source product. So after that, we're up to the next step. And that's, in my opinion, the merchants and the dev docs. Next slide, please. So why are Magento Open Source merchant and dev docs needed? I found this post on Reddit, and I think that this strikes it best. Basically, this is someone who has already 8 years of PHP development experience, and he is confused about learning Magento to open source. He's confused about the location as well as the documentation itself. So if we go to the next slide. So the key points are that the current documentation is confusing for merchants and developers. Magento Open Source and Adobe Commerce is blended together, and the Adobe documentation more and more strips out the Magento Open Source name and is more and more focused towards Adobe Commerce. So it's hard for Magento Open Source merchants as well as developers to find the documentation that they need. Within the documentation, the functions that are Adobe Commerce only are not clearly marked, so there can be confusion for merchants or developers that a particular feature is available, but it's only a Adobe Commerce feature. As well as with the migration from the Magento documentation to Adobe's one, we lost the ability to submit pull requests or update the documentation as the community itself. So that was the starting point. So together with Vijay, we drafted the commission. So we can go to the next slide. And we decided to keep the commission small and hit the ground running because we want to have results as soon as possible. We had, I think, around 20 applicants in total. Me and Vijay went over all of them, and we selected a diverse group of people who could all add something to this committee. So we landed up on Anand from India, Carl from the UK, David, Germany, Didi from India as well, Vijay from India, and me, myself, from the Netherlands. We all want to invite, well, the other, we thank the other people who applied, and we also invited them to take part into the next step of this committee when we have the technical structure up and running to actually go more into depth of the documentation itself. So we've been meeting for about a month and we made quite some progress, which is on the next slide. So what we've done so far is that we created a framework and a ChatGPT prompt, which we can use to actually write the documentation. And we already established some repository structure where we have a stack repo for the tooling and the build process, and a content repo which holds the actual content, which is in Markdown format. I've not included the link here, but well, that's up to the next town hall when we actually have something more to show than this one. Next up is designing user interface. We want to have it look like the Magento Open Source design user interface, that it matches the Magento Open Source website. So that's up next, to design and implement it into the tech stack. And we're currently drafting the initial content, producing around 60 plus how-to guides for the merchant documentation. So hopefully we'll have something released by the next town hall, and we can elaborate on the progress so far in the next one.
All right, thank you very much. I don't know if Karul is here or Ritesh will take this.
Yeah, I got this. Can you hear me?
Got this.
Yeah.
We all do.
Parul is also here, so we definitely have some Adobe representation. But let me speak through this before we move on to the next slide.
That was close.
Let me just first start off by saying again, you know, a big thank you from the Adobe side for everything that the Magento Association is doing and everything that the community it gets involved with. You know, as we all know, it can't be done with one group, one side, one person, and so it takes everyone to do this. As I'm entering my third year of being involved in Magento Association, it's super exciting to see all of the progress that we've made and all of the energy that we've put into through Magento Association to reinvigorate the community, and so it's really good. And in fact, I mean, yes, I'm in all of these meetings, but it's always fun to hear about, you know, especially initiatives like the community prioritization, all the Meet Magento events, and the new ones that are coming up. You know, I like hearing about the documentation updates that we're doing. I've also heard about the confusion, Danny, so thank you for bringing that up. and look, you know, priorities are a little bit different, and so I'm glad that we can try to straighten that stuff out with Magento Association. But that being said, I thought what I'll talk about a little bit is what's going on the Adobe side, and how sort of it relates and deviates a little bit from how the Magento community is operating. So now, Matthias, let's go to the next slide. And I guess this is a build slide, and I didn't know you can build it out. There's no secret for the 3 pieces that are here, so you can click it 2 more times. There we go. Okay. So this was just a quick timeline on Adobe Commerce and sort of where we are coming, where we have come from, right? 2018, back then, that was basically Adobe getting into commerce, trying to understand how some of these things work. Then we looked at sort of the customer base and reacted with personalization, merchandising, that type of thing. And now you've probably seen at some of our recent events and Adobe Summit, a focus on trying to get to more cloud-based, looking at B2B businesses, really trying to solve the needs for larger enterprises, and really trying to focus on lower cost of ownership. And so that brings me to the next slide, where you know, we announced at Summit, Adobe Commerce is a cloud service, and I think it is worth reiterating again. We officially launched this yesterday on June 25th. You may have seen some of the PR and press releases and stuff like that. Thanks, Matthias, for the comment. I don't create a lot of my fancy slides, so that's why it's easy for me to have them. But the ACCS, as it's known internally, Adobe Commerce as a cloud service. I don't work in branding, so don't ask me where we come up with the names. But it's gotten some good reviews from customers. I really want to stress here that I really think it's an opportunity for everyone to get involved, even everyone in this community. You know, you may have heard me talk before about this focusing on App Builder. There's also now a new avenue for services through migration help, customization for merchants that are needing and wanting to move in this direction. And once again, like I said, the goal here for our customers are to solve maintenance hassles and help everyone focus on value add. And this is, as you all know, Adobe's first true SaaS offering on the Magento/Adobe Commerce Foundation. You all probably know what accelerated this on our side. We've been working on this for a little while, but the competitive landscape dictates that this is something that is needed for some of our larger customers, and so that's where this is coming from. Next slide, I want to dive in a little bit in what this includes. ACCS for us is basically a bundling of existing tech capabilities that we had within Adobe, but now it's bringing it together. So you can see here, for example, the Commerce Foundation is one of 5 things that are identified in this pretty looking slide, but really it also packages together providing the front end from edge delivery, the storefront, the edge delivery storefront, sort of minimized down a little bit, comes into that as well, along with anyone familiar with AEM and the AEM assets offering. We're bringing in what we're calling product visuals. So they're slimmed down versions of capabilities that we've already had in different Adobe products, but now customers can take advantage of all of them in one simple package. In addition, there are our old merchandising services, but also enhanced catalog channels and policies, mainly for complex product types and B2B customers, but those are involved as well. App Builder, The runtime is available for anyone, any of the merchants. So any app builder apps that they have can continue to be used with this package. And of course, as I mentioned before, the actual Commerce Foundation. So ACCS is not just taking commerce and putting it hosted or making it a SaaS platform, but is really bundling a lot of different technologies and offerings that we have, and trying to again get to the point where we are able to turn someone on pretty quickly, reduce the amount of maintenance, and work through scalability. So that's what we're excited about going forward. Perfect. And in order to launch this again, we're going to be focusing on the Adobe Exchange Marketplace to separate out extensions versus app builder apps. So once again, a great opportunity for anyone who's interested in learning about App Builder, wanting to build some of the apps. If you visited Adobe Exchange, it's pretty sparse right now compared to the extension marketplace. So there's an opportunity for a lot of visibility. There's less clutter right now. Our salespeople are trained to go in and refer to the Exchange Marketplace to look for opportunities and value-added functionality that goes on top of Adobe Commerce. So when they are looking to migrate customers over to the SaaS offering, they're looking here as well. So it's a great opportunity for anyone who wants to build out some App Builder apps. The other good thing from a timing perspective right now is the fact that there's a lot of resources decked behind it from an Adobe perspective. So if you are interested in building out an App Builder app, now's a very good time, because we have, access to engineers and technical folks and that type of thing. So it's a good opportunity to sort of learn about that and see how you can contribute if you're interested. All right, next slide. And this is my final slide. And I just want to say, again, right, that there's no impact to existing customers. But now that there is, it's accretive and there's an additional choice. So I like to show this to just show the difference and do a little quick compare and contrast. So the Magento, because rightfully the questions are going to be like, okay, well, if we're bringing in SaaS, what goes away, what changes, how does this affect the rest of the ecosystem, right? And I'm happy to say that right now everything is as is, and we're adding, and it's an additive on the end. So everything with Magento Open Source continues to stay the same from an Adobe perspective. We have the dedicated resources and folks aligned to continuing what we're doing on open source. We also realize that SaaS is not right for everyone, and so the PaaS product and on-prem product continue to stay. We hope that there's going to be a sort of full demand situation, so we'll bring people in, but as we also know, the PHP extensions are going to continue. So don't fret if you have invested a lot of time and energy in your PHP extensions. That marketplace continues to stay as is. We just feel like as we move forward in our journey on the Adobe side and try to use App Builder as the linking technology for all other Adobe products as well, there is now another opportunity for customers also. So that is the end of my dialogue. But again, before I end, and I'm sure you'll hear it from the rest of the board members as well, I want to again thank everyone for their continued contribution. It's been an interesting year in the world, but continuing to stay focused on keeping our community alive and rejuvenated is super exciting. At Adobe, change is constant, I guess, is that the word, right? And so we definitely have new people, new leadership on a constant basis. But I can tell you that, you know, the efforts that Parul and I have done to try to stay connected to this community and bring back all the goodness back to Adobe is definitely recognized and appreciated. You know, we will always, as every family does, probably not see eye to eye on everything, but just know that Adobe continues to be supportive of Magento Open Source and everything that you guys are doing. So thank you once again. And with that, Matthias, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, that pretty much just starts the fireside part. I think that's... Jörg, you got this, right?
Once I unmuted myself, I got it, yes.
That works.
So hey, welcome everybody from my end to the town hall and to the Q&A session. I will start reading the most upvoted questions right now, but please go on, upvote more questions, post more questions, and we'll get to them. So first question by a Magento community member. What's the take of Adobe regarding the announcement of Laminis MVC retirement? Will Magento Open Source Adobe Commerce core be updated?
So Parul or Ritesh, would you guys like to handle this? Yeah.
Absolutely, I can take that one. So yes, we are aware about Laminas being retired, and we are discussing a plan to handle that. But in the interim, what I can say is if you are on a Adobe supported version, and if there is a vulnerability reported on that library, Adobe will release a fix through our security patch releases, which is, you know, every other month. So keep an eye on that. That will be covered. That I can assure you.
Also,
Thank
maybe I can jump in. When I read the announcement, I immediately got into working mode, and I thought about maybe providing a polyfill API for Doctrine on top of Magento. So Magento would feel like it would feel before, but the pure data persistence could become Doctrine, something like that. So there's a couple ideas flying around that one.
That's awesome.
Next question, again by a Magento community member. Will Adobe or associations, Magento Association or the MageOS Association, provide alternatives to the native themes that seem abandoned and not compliant with the latest regulations?
So first, probably let's give Adobe an opportunity to answer.
Well, what I can say from Adobe side, we have not deprecated Luma. It's still there as an option for the themes. Ritesh, anything you would like to add to that?
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, Luma continues to be supported. Obviously, we're open to headless on what we're doing on the Adobe Commerce side. That being said, I think there was something about compliant with regulations, and that's a scary term for me. So if there is any more details on that or where the area of concern is, please feel free to reach out to Parul or myself, and then we can evaluate that. But the goal is, at least for the Luma theme, we will continue to keep that compliant.
And Laura, perhaps on the code side, would you like to add anything?
On that side, I think I might have to defer to Adobe on that particular question about the themes.
Yeah. So let me maybe expand from the Magento Association side. We also kind of have opportunity to rally community around the contributions, and that's where also we have alternative avenues of one option is for us to deliver a pull request with a theme that would be an alternative, and then we can discuss with Adobe if that would be possible to add that to mainline, or we can also maintain an alternative that's could also be based on Magento, for example. So that would be also one of the options.
Next question, again by Magento community member. Magento Adobe Commerce default checkout is not PCI 4.0 compliant with unsafe eval directive in HTTP headers. Will Adobe provide an update for Commerce or OS?
Yeah,
Sorry.
oh, go ahead, Parul.
Okay, so I'm not aware of unsafe eval or unsafe inline in checkout. If eval, like what I know is if eval is invoked, it's coming through an authorized script. But I would like to know more about this. Like if you feel that there's any specific requirement which is being violated, I would love to know about it. And I would suggest if you can post a message on the security channel on Magento Open Source Slack workspace. That channel is very, very active. Nathan Smith is our security leader. He really responds to each and every messages. So I would really like to know more about it because I'm not aware of any specific requirement being violated, but I would really, really want to work it out with the team if there is one. Ritesh,
Yeah.
please go ahead. Yeah.
No, exactly. I mean, stuff like this is a little bit concerning, so definitely will investigate. I do know that there has been a lot of work internally right now on the PCI 4 compliance across the board, even on our payments offering, but across the board on commerce. So I'm hoping if there's something like that, it will be addressed shortly. But again, I echo Parul's sentiment that, please provide some additional information so that we can take a look at it. I think stuff like this, especially when we're talking about security and checkout, is important for everyone to make sure that we have this handled.
Thank you, Parul and Ritesh. Next question. What are the plans to make Magento more visible for merchants?
From the Magento Association's part, I hope you saw a couple of initiatives today that we covered that are working towards this goal. And this is really a goal for MA to work on visibility and marketing of Magento Open Source. And we have different avenues. One is documentation, for example, not only for developers, but also for merchants. So that's the initiative that Vijay and Danny working on. On the MA infrastructure side, we're also making listings that are case studies and showcases where agencies would be able to submit their examples of the websites on Magento Open Source that we can then publicly market. And Vatsal, together with Mathias, working on that initiative, of course, also with the help of community. And on the events and marketing side, we're also considering stepping up our events game, where it's not just our own events, but where we can have joint sponsorships at big industry events. So this is really an idea where we can go to large events and have a unified kind of pavilion under Magento Association umbrella, where we could have different community players, infrastructure, hosting, let's say, agencies, all of us together, and of course Magento Association promoting the open source as brand and solution. And of course marketing committee has a lot of things on their mind, and practically a lot of the content we put out is around Magento. So I would say that the plans are grand, and it's not just plans, but we're already executing on that.
Thank you, Slava. I messed up the order of the question. So here goes the question by Parth T. How can developers gain access to App Builder? Is there a way to obtain it as a sandbox or developer-only access without requiring a cloud service license?
Ritesh?
Yes, I got this one. Parth, thanks for the question. Yeah, there's two ways. One is if you already have access to a PaaS sandbox, for example, at Adobe, then you can request App Builder if you don't have that provisioned. So that you could do internally and request access, and that should be provided to you. The other thing is, like I mentioned in my earlier session, the timing is good right now as we are looking for folks to develop App Builder apps. If you are interested in developing an app builder app and you give us a commitment to develop app builder apps, I can work with the team to provide that access. So just feel free to reach out. I don't know if we've got everyone's contact information somewhere, but I feel like I've said please reach out a couple of times now. So hopefully you can find me on LinkedIn or rsomani@adobe.com.
Thank you. Next question. How will the Magento Association incorporate community feedback into the roadmap for future Magento releases?
So I would say there are two kind of facets here, and since the actual roadmap and releases are on the Adobe side, I would let Ritesh or Parul first step in from that part. How do you guys would like to take in the feedback for the releases?
I mean, I assume so. I assume we're talking about any feature updates and stuff like that. And I mean, that's the initiative that Laura is spearheading, with support obviously from Parul and the Adobe side. So it's the community council is the best way to do that. You know, we continue to dedicate resources to reviewing PRs and merging them into the releases. In fact, there was a couple that we have in the next release coming out, you know, from the community as well. So I think that's the best way to do it. Parul, would you add anything else to that?
I just want to say that keep an eye on our alpha releases, which is again, you know, every 2 months. 249 Alpha 2 is coming in August. There's a ton of community pull requests that is being merged. Like as I speak, I'm getting messages that, you know, another mainline PR got merged. So I would just say that, you know, keep an eye on our releases, alpha releases, so that you can get the latest and greatest from Adobe, from community, everybody.
Thank you. And Laura, would you like to add anything from the Community Council and perhaps also use this opportunity for any requests we might have to the community?
Exactly. That's what the council is all about, is to work with the community and Adobe to get these types of features out there. So now that the committee is off the ground and we're putting together our roadmap for the rest of the year, getting a major feature into the mainline is one of our priorities. So if you have ideas, reach out. As Ritesh said, we're on Slack, there's LinkedIn. However you want to reach out, you have ideas, get in touch.
Yep, and maybe one little side note. We need to all be aware that feedback comes in terms of pull requests, right? So we can put together teams that want to work on a certain piece of functionality that people think is missing, and then we provide the pull request.
All right. Next question from the Magento community from Thailand. Does the Magento Association have any plans to support local Magento open source events? They thought only Meet Magento and it would focus only on enterprise users or Adobe Commerce.
Jamie, are you still with us? Would you like to chime in here?
I'm always here. We will support all events. It's the community of Thailand. We would love to support whatever event you have in mind or whatever event you think needs additional support. Just reach out to us on our email address. We'll help you however we can. I think from a Meet Magento perspective, there's two balances to this question in terms of a worldwide approach. One is that by default, we see it as a committee that we want to support the whole ecosystem, open source, enterprise, every version of anything that touches the Magento code base as an original. I think on the second answer to this question is individual countries, individual organizers have different approaches, different cultures, different ways they have to approach their audiences, and we have to respect that too. So from a base level, as a committee, we'll support all events that have Magento involved in any facet, whether it's open source, enterprise, meetup, multi-platform event. We just want to make sure that Magento is in events and organizers are helped in any way we can.
Awesome. So I would just add that on our website, you can go to About Us section and find the committees listed there and the email address. So feel free to reach out to the events committee with any requests. And I would just add that Meet Magento event is not only focused on enterprise user for Adobe Commerce. It's definitely not intended to be this way. Meet Magento events cover all Magento open source and Adobe Commerce users.
Yep.
Thank you.
And maybe as the final side note, because I just saw Magento Community Thailand, if you head over to meetmagento.com, there's a host your own button, hint in an implication. I'm pretty sure the Asian community would love it.
Awesome.
Switching over to the next question by Anonymous again. Can the Magento Association manage the extension marketplace for Adobe?
So if we were to answer this question literally, probably we can potentially. However, it's not on the roadmap for this year. That's one part, because Magento Association can only do so much. We have to manage the priorities. But the other part of it is the extension marketplace belongs to Adobe. So there has to be a decision or a will to delegate that in the first place. So Ritesh, I'm not sure if you'd like to add anything from your side here.
Yeah, I mean, clearly this comment comes from a place of someone feeling like there's a gap. So would love to understand where the gap is and see if we can solve it. Right, if there's something that there's a shortcoming right now in that extension marketplace that people feel like can be made a little bit better. I'm open to hearing the feedback, and then we'll figure out what next steps are. And as Slava said, it's all a question sometimes about resourcing. So we'll figure out how that lines up.
All right. Next question. Are there any major changes or initiatives coming to Magento Commerce that the community should be aware of?
Ritesh or Parul, I get the naming confusion. I'm not sure if we talk about Magento Open Source or Adobe Commerce, but in the past, Magento Commerce, I think was the product name for overall both versions of Magento.
It's interesting to see this, third combination of our product.
So maybe to rephrase, any big changes to the product, either Magento Open Source or Adobe Commerce that you guys see coming?
I think Ritesh covered that in his slides, right? Go ahead, Ritesh.
No, I was just going to say the big thing for us is the SaaS version of Adobe Commerce. A lot of investment, time, and energy is being put into that, to sort of handle the needs of customers and where the competitive sort of landscape is heading. That being said, I don't think there's any changes, and hopefully that last slide indicated that from our perspective to the open source side. So again, if there's any questions in particular, feel free to reach out to Parul or myself. But as of right now, I think we're fine.
And I'd like to add to that, having major changes or like initiatives, not initiatives, I would say, but like in terms of the roadmap, that there was a question earlier as well. In terms of Magento Open Source, I mean, it's in your hand, it's in community's hand, right? Make use of that community prioritization process, upvote the pull requests, make sure, and that's the way to let us know that, this is what you want in the code base, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I want to just echo that portion of it. I mean, that is a process that, from the Adobe side, we kicked off a couple of years ago now, and it's good, but it can be better. And this is the way, right? Like, I think across the community at first, we were all wondering whether Adobe is actually pulling in enough things, whether there's enough requests coming from the community. And so I think those are the two things that we can still continue to build upon, right? Parul's team is very diligent. We have a diligent team focused literally on the community and all those pull requests. And with Laura's efforts and that committee's efforts to try to get more people involved, I think that's the way we're going to make these changes, and you're going to continue to see beneficial updates in the open source product. So please, 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 you hear me say this on every Meet Magento stage that I'm on, but it really is going to be the way that we can understand what the community wants changed and how you can make that impact.
And maybe to that extent, Ritesh, I see the next question coming up is about the performance and scalability. So just to clarify, do you see that as Adobe's kind of mission or responsibility to address or improve performance and scalability in the future releases, or is your point of view that in those areas, community should also step in when it comes to Magento Open Source and try to work on those core parts as well? And by the way, Magent Conference, we love you too.
Parul, I don't know if you want to start off talking about performance and scalability, but I have my point of view on this too.
Absolutely. So what I would say that for every release, we definitely do a performance measurement to make sure that, we are hitting the mark. But to your point, Slava, I mean, obviously, community contributions are welcome. If you would like, if you can make contributions to enhance performance and scalability, definitely that's something that we would love. But on our end, we are taking care of it. And definitely, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, I would echo the same sentiment. Foundationally, we are committed to making continue to address performance and scalability. It is the same foundational code, right, for Adobe Commerce and open source at the end. So we will continue to look at those things, but the power of the community and the power of this ecosystem is to get data points across from different people. And I don't think anyone at Adobe is saying that, hey, we are end all be all and we know how to do this the best out of everyone. So if there are areas, as Parul mentioned, that you're like, hey, this is a way where we can consider making it better for everyone, guess what? The community council is the way to do it. The pull request is the way to do it. And I guarantee if there's something from a performance and scalability perspective that helps everyone out, that's probably going to be a PR that's going to get everyone's attention, including Adobe. So please, please, please contribute that way.
Thank you. So I hope, Anonymous, this answers your question. If not, feel free to follow up.
Next question related to the elections this year. Who are the board members departing for the incoming seats? And when will the newly appointed board seats start their terms?
So I'll take this as chair of the election committee. We have a group of 5 board members that have their terms elapsed. That's Danny, me, and Sonal, Willem, and Vatsal. And out of those, Danny and me are the longest here. And Willem also expressed desire to step down quicker. So for sure, it will be 3 of us, and Sonal also most likely. And we might have Vatsal just fill in for an extra year to make sure that there is continuity and we don't replace more than 4 board members in this run, and that we have continuous election cycle of 4 members in, 4 members out. So that's specifically if we talk about the names for the incoming seats. And as far as the second part, when will the newly appointed board seats start their terms? So technically, we want to align them with calendar years, but we might have at least perhaps the direct seat that we get elected sooner. We might have that person start faster, as Willem will likely leave the board a little bit earlier because of the good news. As Willem shared himself, he is becoming father again this year, so that's the reason he might need to end his commitment a little bit earlier in September or August. So that's a little behind the scenes view.
Thank you, Slava. Next question. The Magento Association had a financial loss last year. Does this threaten operations, and what are your plans to address it?
So first, perhaps, Danny, would you like to give us some background as our treasurer, and then perhaps we'll follow up a bit.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we did have a little bit of a loss last year due to incurring costs. We onboarded Jörg already for the second employee on our payroll. And like I mentioned in the last town hall, this is one that we see that we will change that loss into a little profit this year, with better and more sponsor contracts coming in, which are also matched by Adobe. So that goes in two ways, basically. So yeah, we'll be sure to leave a financially stable association when I depart after this year.
Yeah, and to add to that, as far as threat to the operations, no, there is no threat to the operations, and we have some financial reserves that allow us to keep to operate. And moreover, as you might have seen in the plans, we have a specific focus area on growing our membership, and not just on the individual side, but also from the companies to support MA. And this is going to improve our financial standing. And thanks to Oli stepping in and taking this initiative of growing the sponsorship, we've been able to sign up new companies this year, and we want to continue on that course. Unfortunately, Oli couldn't join today to present an update on that side, but we'll make sure to have him for the next town hall to give some more details. But all of you guys, thank you for supporting us as members. You all contribute to our financial stability. Of course, also the company members bring in a big chunk of the revenue for us and allow us to continue operations. And let's not forget Adobe, who's matching the input from the community. So this is a foundation that we have on at least kind of three legs that support the association, and it's pretty stable.
Next question goes back to the election topic. Can existing or former board members reapply for a seat on the board?
Why is this anonymous? Who's asking? I want to know. No, just kidding. So we will find the answer in the bylaws, and as the bylaws currently say, it is allowed for board members to serve 2 back-to-back terms if they would like to. So that's the current policy, and if we adjust the bylaws, that might change, but at the moment that's the possibility.
Whoops, still muted, sorry. Next question. Historically, there have been serious challenges facilitating PHP and SaaS apps. How did Adobe overcome these challenges for a P? Oh my God.
I got you, Jörg.
Okay, thank you.
It's fine. And we can all see the question. Yeah, too many letters. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But if it is a topic near and dear to my heart, so again, feel free to reach out. The simple answer is for our SaaS platform, we are focused on App Builder, and that's the method that we're using to create extensibility and customization for the SaaS platform. And if you want to know more about it, we now have official press releases. There's stuff on Experience League, and so you can read about that stuff if you want. Feel free to reach out.
I would like to add to that, Ritesh. I think the answer is thought leadership and dedicated people. That's how we are overcoming the challenges, I guess.
Next question is, how does the Magento Association plan to integrate AI, machine learning, and automation into the platform?
So I guess
you want to take that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that we covered this more broadly, and when we talked about how do we split the responsibility or kind of initiative in contributing to the product, and the easy answer or kind of simple answer here is community. It's up to us what kind of pull requests we want to make, and that would be interesting to see some AI or ML or other kind of pull requests related to those innovations come in. And the answer is basically whatever opportunity to innovate we see, that's all welcome in pull requests. That's from community side. I don't know, Ritesh or Parul, if you guys would like to add anything from Adobe.
I think you covered it, Slava. I don't have anything to add.
Okay, cool.
So somebody apparently missed, does the Forger app already have a release date?
I can, well, so all the code is on the server. It's the Nginx configuration that we cannot access right now. So I don't want to be the bad guy. The JetRails has been extremely helpful setting those things up. The ticket is open since a day, and I think as we most of us should work in tech, I think giving them like 48 hours to do a sponsored support ticket should be sufficient. I'm pretty sure that the app will be up and running. The code is on the server. Data has already been imported. It's the Nginx host configuration that's missing, because we could just select like Magento install, because JetRails, as you might know, offers like pretty decent Magento hosting, but our stuff is a Laravel app, so it needs some special config. However, so no, I don't have like a specific release date, but given my experience with the JetRails support so far, I would say very soon.
Okay, awesome.
You can still run
Next.
it locally though, if you want.
If Adobe SAP's latest theme has launched, what impact does it have on Magento?
I guess the question is about SaaS, not the
right?
car, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if Adobe
Like-
has SAP's car, but yeah, Ritesh, go ahead.
I'm a big fan of Saab, so if we're bringing it back, that's another whole question. But yeah, very simply, I don't think it has any effect on Magento. Like I showed in that one slide with a comparison, open source continues to be PHP based. All the extensions will work. Everything is, it's fine. If there's a concern around is Adobe trying to poach from open source and move to SaaS, I don't think that's realistic. So that's not the case. More of it is really based on Adobe Commerce customers and what we've heard that they're looking for a SaaS solution. So that's what it is. So unless, again, there's an angle I'm missing, feel free to reach out. But
Almost running out of questions now. So one of the last ones, what is the status of support for agentic commerce? Are there working groups we can get involved in?
So there is none specific one, as far as I know. Laura, do you have any space for enthusiasts in agentic commerce within the community council, maybe, or a way to engage there?
For sure. Just reach out. It hasn't come up yet, but again, we're still in early days, so open to everything.
Okay, so Laura would be a person.
Anyone can pretty much form any council, right? So it's not that we have a limited amount of councils. If you want to put together a working group, that's what open source is all about. The saying or the phrase I usually use is whoever delivers is right. So let's just get in touch, and if there's something we don't have, let's build it. Pure open source philosophy.
Second to last question. I assume this is about the Magento Association memberships. Why are the membership fees so high?
Do we have somebody from the membership committee here? Noah, maybe? if you're in a
Ollie,
good spot,
unfortunately, is
or
not.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you'd like, or Grant, yeah, if you're in a good spot now and would like to share your kind of take maybe overall on how the membership committee approach the question of membership fees, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, some context would be good too. I know this is from Anonymous, but my first question would be kind of like, relatively speaking, where the feeling or sentiment is coming from. Yeah, because I mean, it just, it could be different for different regions. We try to make it appropriate to local currency and exchange rates. And there was quite a bit of evaluation that went into it. It was definitely not haphazard. I think we had board members sitting in on the process. It went on over the course of months, reevaluated a couple different approaches. But I think it is commensurate with other organizations globally, similar like types, and that was one of the factors that weighed in. We also, wanted it to be accessible. So again, I'd be kind of interested in some of the context, not to be defensive about it at all, but our idea was to make it accessible, but still be able to help keep the lights on. We wanted to make sure that there was value being provided, and that's really a lot of the focus that we've had through the discussions is what is the value that we're providing, whether it's $1 or $1 million to be a member. And so some of the process going into it was kind of balancing those two things, creating tiers where you could enter, be a member, and then tiers where if you wanted to contribute more to help the cause and the association, you could, but we really didn't want to have that barrier to entry. So I don't know if there's any more color on that you might have, Matthias, or
Yeah, a little bit. So the overall thing is basically everything that Noah said. One thing I would like to make people aware of is that we do have discounts for certain regions on the planet. So as an example, India comes with a 50% discount. Brazil comes with I think 65 or 70. Now I think it's 65% discount. We were also going through the approach to calculate membership fees based on local buying power. So there's a couple of approaches to it. What I would really like to do is basically just schedule a quick call with me, and I can relay, and we can have a discussion of where we're sitting and how we can solve the. I mean, let's all be honest, we're all grown-ups, right? There's different buying powers in different parts of the world. We're trying to address that to the best of our abilities. And let's have a simple conversation about it. Should be the fastest thing. And
Yeah,
since we have
thank you, Matthias.
4 minutes left and one question, let's go.
Yeah, thank you, Matthias, for that comment. And just overall, we want to have MA accessible. And if anybody is in a location where $10 a month is more than you can afford, even if you work with Magento, please reach out to Matthias, and we'll look to find a solution. And I guess, yeah, the last question is just about the contact details. I guess this is regarding the Adobe Community Forum. So Ritesh or Parul, do you know who would be the appropriate person to reach out to?
Please reach out to me. I'll be happy to hear from you.
Okay, so Parul would be your contact. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for the active discussion and the questions, the conversations on the fireside chat. Our community is pretty active, and I'm very grateful for that. Thanks again to all the participants, all the members that support us, committee members, board members. Thank you for volunteering your time. And of course, Adobe. I know this is kind of a little bit extracurricular activity for you guys, but I hope you also enjoy it and you're happy with us. And I would just repeat with what I started from. MA is not an organization in itself. It's all about our community. And I would invite everybody to be a part of this dynamic organization and shape its future. You can do so through contributions. You can do so through participating in the committees that we have. Again, on our website, you'll find the list. If you see the committee you'd love to participate in, please send an email. And of course, we have board elections this year, so we'll have 4 new board members. You could be one of those new board members. So be on the lookout for our campaign for applications starting on July 7th. And please apply and be a part of the future we create together. Thank you very much. And of course, events. Yes, Meet Magento events is another way where we are waiting you. Thank you.
I didn't make the closing music work. Still, I'm still got the search box open.
All right. You can
Thanks,
close
everybody.
the meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for participating.
I need to stop recording first. Then